Hey everybody, this is a clip from
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your
uninsured
mind.
because they have a big problem, and we're going to look at the uninsured people that, this came out as a surprise to all of us. It just happened. It shows what can happen in life. But we're going to be looking at the uninsured, see if we can help them out.
Okay. We're working, as part of the emergency supplemental, we'll work with Congress on programs to help hospitals as they care for the uninsured with novel coronavirus.
Oh, so you're going to help the hospitals. You're not going to help the patients. Okay, great. What a good plan. Yeah. I never realized the uninsured would be, if you have, some sort of symptoms and you want to get tested because you don't want to infect other people, or you're, living with somebody who is medically fragile, somebody who has a respiratory illness, somebody who has congestive heart failure, somebody who is, over the age of 80. You kind of do want to get yourself tested. Guess what? No tests. There are no test kits because they botched the test kits. That's number one. And number two, how many people are going to be as dedicated to their friends and family as my kid was, who ran over to the urgent care to see if she could get tested so that she could protect her family on her dime? $996 that she put on her credit card. Oh, I didn't realize this could happen. Just shows you what could happen in life. This is a hardworking kid, okay? This is somebody who works like crazy, a work ethic like mine, okay, she has. And came all the way here to help out with her grandma, put her life on hold to be here for us. This is such a sick man. I tell you, like I said, I'll vote for a cardboard box. I don't care. Anthony in Boston.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
How you?
I voted for Bernie yesterday. I wanted to say, too, that you always made an articulate argument or point about reparations and how black people should receive them. Do you think if Bernie finally put it on the table, is reparations, clearly and distinctly, it could be like a turning point?
Well, it could come off two ways, couldn't it? I mean, it could come off as pandering, or it could come off as concern. I mean, I just don't know, because his previous answers on it were, it depends what reparations mean.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking finally make an argument about the data that we have now for blacks and whites, the gap, and how the class gap is not really the gap that affects black people.
Say that again.
I said the class gap doesn't affect black people the same way as it does finally putting the reparations on the table.
I don't follow you.
Okay, if a black person has a lineage of slavery, pain, Jim Crow, and a white person who's in society now is worth more because they didn't go through that, finally dealing with the pain and the economic loss, I think wouldn't be a turning point. Oh, I'm so nervous, but anyway.
I hear that.
I just thought we got like a turning point, fam.
So, like I said, it could come off one of two ways. It could come off as pandering for the black vote, or it could come off as, sincerely concerned. But the previous answer is it depends what reparations are, what that word means. So
finally look at it.
So that is what he said, and that's his position on it. And I mean, if you came out now after seeing that older African Americans are very loyal to Joe Biden, they're very pragmatic as well. They're a little afraid of big, bold change because they don't know if that proposition defeats Donald Trump. I think that's their main focus. I think that's why they're voting the way they are. They're playing it down the middle, and they also like Joe Biden. They have a bond with Joe, and so they're voting, what they feel in their hearts about who could win and who's too, what do you call it? Dangerous. Who's too...
Yes. But I do think the revolution starts with young people, and I went to the polls yesterday.
But they didn't show up in the same numbers. So that's a problem. Because, look, let's just be honest here. Bernie's entire plan only succeeds if young voters show up. this is what he's banking on, the youth vote showing up for him. And it's and I see a 3% decrease in these Super Tuesday states. So what am I supposed to conclude about that?
Yes. Well, anyway, it was nice talking to you. I'm sorry I was so nervous in the beginning.
All right.
Thank
well,
you.
next time, it'll be sloppy seconds. You'll be like used to me.
Thank you, Andy.
All right. Marty in Maine.
Is this Marty?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I heard a buzz there. Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
You mentioned your workaholicness,
yes.
And I must say, I bow down before you with your research skills. It's truly amazing.
Yeah.
Your researching skills, your homework skills, it's really unbelievable.
It's very annoying to my family, however, I have to say.
Well, along those lines,
yes.
I'm hearing a couple of interesting sentiments. I'm in an interesting area here in Maine. I'm, maybe 45 minutes or so.
Who the hell won Maine last night? I don't even know. I know that it's very tight. They're both 2 point. They're Biden and Bernie are 2 points apart.
Yeah, I haven't checked.
That's where I left off.
I have not followed up on that. I voted. It was going back and forth in terms of just, puny little numbers and differences between who was leading at what points in time. So it's kind of an interesting area here. It's, Portland's fairly...
Oh, yeah, I know. I know where you live.
Democratic side. And,
yeah.
So what I was curious about is I hear a sentiment, a couple of concerns. One of them is these down-ballot races, with the implication being that you have to run Joe Biden in order to win the down ballot.
Now, how does that work? I'm asking, how does that work in people's heads?
That's exactly what I want to get at with you, because I'd like to know what we know about the actual facts of what happened in 2016 and these various races for the House that, the likes of Claire McCaskill like to discuss and say, well, who's all those places if we run a progressive at the top of the ticket?
Why? How does that work?
Right, and I'm just
because what I'm thinking, just to think out loud, it's easier, I think, for a Biden voter to vote for, I don't know, a Jeff Sessions, let's say, than it would be for a Bernie voter to vote for a Jeff Sessions. So I don't even get how that became a thing. I don't even understand how that. And I will say that Biden, if Biden is at the top of the ticket, there are a lot of Bernie voters who will be just as dumb as they were in 2016 and just as stubborn and will stay home. And so that gives a chance for the down ballot candidates to have more Republicans showing up in the general and voting for them because the Bernie voters will stay home. So I don't know how this works in people's heads and why people are saying that to me, but I hear that all the time about the down ballot, and I don't get where that came from or how that makes sense.
Right. So I guess from sort of a historical basis here in the 2016 elections, I'm wondering if we know, for those seats that supposedly turn, number one, were there primaries involved in those states that had a progressive running against the candidate that ultimately won on the Democratic side, thus helping turn the House? Number two, where could a progressive have won in the alternative?
And I think that this is a mistake. I think thinking this way is a huge mistake. I think the reason why Democrats won back the House is because they hate Trump. They saw babies being separated from their parents. They saw babies in cages. They understood that Trump was a lunatic. They understood that he was a liar. And they got so disgusted that they voted. These were, middle of the road people that just said, I'm getting rid of him. I'm going to have a check on this man. This man needs to be looked into. We want his tax returns. We want to know what in the world he's thinking when he separates women and children. It looks very fascist to me. It feels un-American to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it had anything to do with it had to do with who was on the ballot that wasn't, a Republican. Period.
That's right. So there just isn't a basis for that type of sentiment. It's just an overriding issue.
I don't get this argument about the down ballot, because the way that it looks to me is that if Bernie doesn't become the nominee, the Bernie voters will be so stubborn and disgusted and the whole nine that they will sit it out. That hurts the down ballot more than
Well, I have a
being a progressive.
Well, Joe Biden has a storyline that could actually thread very nicely on that to pick up the Bernie voters, and it has to do with finding somebody that's a progressive to run with. It's the next step beyond, Joe Biden's first step. He wants to build supposedly on Obamacare, et cetera, and not destroy it. Well, in the next administration that comes after him, you can go the next step. And if it's somebody who's really likable to progressives, maybe that will energize them to get them out. It doesn't have to be a current candidate running.
I hear you. Something tells me it goes for Buttigieg, though. I don't know. Hey, everybody. This is a clip from the latest episode of The Randi Rhodes Show. If you want the full episode, you can watch live on Free Speech TV, Dish Channel 9415, DirectTV 348, Sling, Roku, and AppleTV.